I was gonna say.
All right, give me a second. All right,
No, I gotta leave now. I gotta leave now. You're recording. I gotta go.
Oh wow. Yo, what's going on? This is Relax and _Jackson, and we have a little segment. We are here. We wanted to talk about some wrestling stuff. I have my friend on here, Zach. He does a lot of designs for the podcast, and we are all wrestling fans. Me, Lau, and Zach especially. Spence likes wrestling as well, but we are all here talking about it.
Yeah, Spence.
Talk about it.
Spence, since you're the least wrestling fan, I know that's bad grammar, but why don't you introduce yourself first? Let the people know, because you might not have much to say.
Yeah, nice lob. I like that. So yeah, like Lau said, my name's Spence. Why am I talking like I'm talking to somebody I've never met before?
You're talking to your boy.
Yeah, exactly. But nah, yeah, it's Spence from the Holiday Vibes podcast. Nice little special segment we got for you guys. Going to talk about wrestling. Thanks again to Zach for all the designs that he's done. Because trust me, those things are dope, super cool, and trust me, after seeing your background right here, I definitely understand why those things look so dope. So definitely,
I'm just glad you guys like the designs. That's all I got to say. I don't usually charge people. I just like doing it, so I'm glad you guys like them.
Yeah, I can tell that you like doing it because the way it looks is just like it's really good quality.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely appreciate it, man, because we could have gone to another motherfucker and he could have charged us $300, $400, $500. But you're just kind of like, hey, what do you guys think? You guys like this? You guys like that? And that's real dope. So definitely, thank you very much. And anytime that you definitely want to hop on to talk with us about anything, I know Nigel's your homeboy, but you're more than welcome. So we definitely appreciate it.
I appreciate that, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
So what did y'all think about the All Out event that happened recently? I know that's, the big thing that we all watched, the return of a few people, but, what did y'all think about the event overall?
I thought it was a good event. I thought it was AEW's best wrestling event. Just comparing it to their other pay-per-views, I think that was their best. And I think it was their real true return to form pay-per-view, because I know the Double or Nothing earlier in the year, it was kind of, they had like the limited capacity fans at down in Jacksonville, Daily Place, whatever. So I think it was a really good event. It reminded me a lot of like a 2001 pay-per-view from the WWF era before they went to WWE, where a lot of like everybody was just really into the show, whether you knew what was going to happen or not. So I thought it was a good event overall.
What do you think, Matt? Or I'm sorry, Zach.
I like the comparison you did to the 2001 pay-per-views for WWF, because a lot of people were saying it was better than WrestleMania 17, which I don't think so, because that was just the best show I've ever seen top to bottom. But it was definitely my favorite modern day pay-per-view.
Okay.
It had a lot of big moments, had a lot of good matches, and I think it is. And you're right, it was their first pay-per-view back in an arena in front of crowds, and I think that definitely added to the atmosphere. I think they were dead in a couple spots because of they ran Chicago a couple weeks before, and then they had 3 shows in that arena. So, but I think overall it was a great show.
When I was watching it, I was just thinking the last AEW event I had watched was when Matt Hardy took the hard fall. So no, that's just like the last reference point I have for AEW. So for me, watching this event since then, I thought it was, I had watched one AEW event prior to that, and then that was the next one. And so watching this as being my third one, I really enjoyed it. And I thought that every match was pretty much, it did exactly what it was supposed to do. And definitely one of the matches of the year I thought were on the card, for sure.
Was that Matt Hardy bump the last All Out? I think it was.
I was just going to say that. Last year's All Out. Yeah.
Was it?
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. That happened a year ago.
That was fast. I was just with y'all watching that.
Yeah. Well, since we're talking about, the card and whatever, what do y'all think was like the favorite match for y'all from the card?
So for me, and I know a lot of people who may be like Jim Cornette fans or like they're not fans of the Young Bucks style. For me, my favorite match of that night was the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros. I thought the match was very dynamic. Yeah, it's not old school psychology like wrestling where they're telling, a story or whatever, but I just thought the match was just nothing but a highlight reel. And to me, I enjoyed it because I know what to expect from a Young Bucks match. So I thought it was a great match. It was very entertaining to me. If I had to choose a number two, it might be a sleeper pick to some, but I think the main event between Kenny and Christian, just because those guys worked really hard to a crowd that was kind of dead at the end of the night.
Yeah, man, that main event was it didn't have a lot of I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but it didn't have a lot of hype, I guess, going into it because a lot of people didn't want to see Christian versus Kenny Omega for a second time. Right. And I enjoyed it. The Bucks and Lucha Brothers match was great. Definitely a match of the year candidate. It was amazing. I don't know if you were going to go to me next, but I can just give you my.
I was curious. I was waiting.
So my favorite match of the card is it was sentimental though. It wasn't like it wasn't the best match on the card, but it was sentimental. My favorite match was the Punk Darby match. Okay. I've been a fan of wrestling for 22 out of the 26 years I've been alive. So, and Punk has been one of my favorite wrestlers in that time. So like him being gone for so long definitely was a special moment. Like him coming back on TV was a special moment, but watching him wrestle for the first time in 7 years was my favorite moment of that card.
Go ahead, Lyle.
I was going to say, and that match was actually a good match. It went between him and Darby. It was a slower paced match, but it made sense though, and I felt like it really helped us. It told the story of like, the young guy who's, you could say he's in his prime, which I don't think he is yet, but the young guy in Darby Allin wrestling the old veteran who's coming back, and it's taking him time to get used to, the speed of everything, especially he's wrestling a different style than what he used to wrestle in the WWE. And I just felt like the match was actually pretty good. I thought it was solid. I definitely liked the finish. I thought the finish was definitely great. So now it was a good match for real. It was definitely a lot better than a couple matches on that show.
I don't know if you saw the social media post or anything after that, but there was CM Punk definitely took some things from a Bret Hart 1, 2, 3 Kid match. Back in the early 90s. And people on social media have gone and like split the two videos together, and you can definitely see where Punk took inspiration from that. And I just thought that was really cool because it just shows that Punk is a true wrestling fan. Like he's incorporating old stuff into his matches.
You have to send me a link to that because I've never seen that before.
Okay, yeah, I'll definitely send that to you guys.
My favorite match from the night was the Lucha Bros match. I thought that match was amazing. I definitely probably am going to go back and watch that match again, actually, just because it was just so action-packed. You know what I mean? I also enjoyed the MJF Chris Jericho match, which, I didn't really... Honestly, I wasn't really looking forward to the match just because we had seen it before. But, after that came on and, I watched it, I was like, I enjoyed it for especially what they did with the finish because... In my mind, I thought there was no way they could have MJF win that match and me and still enjoy that match. And they pulled it off.
MJF win or Jericho win?
MJF. I'm sorry, Chris Jericho.
Okay. Confused me a little bit. Because a lot of people were saying that MJF should win that. And he did. They just
should have, in my opinion.
So, I think the finish was great. The match was a little long for me, but I liked it all together.
Yeah, I agree. I think honestly MJF should have won the feud. Chris Jericho, I understand he's one of the biggest stars, and I like Chris Jericho. I think he's an all-time great for sure. It's just that what's next for him? You know what I mean? That's how I looked at it. Even though the match was cool, the finish was cool. I just thought MJF should have went over, especially since you want to help propel him into a title feud. Or whoever's going to be the world champ by the time he does feud with them.
That was the first time he's lost since he wrestled Mox for the world title. So I think he's fine as far as that goes. But they definitely booked themselves in a corner saying it would be Jericho's last match if he lost, because they don't want to lose Jericho. I mean, he was their first big signee. So it just doesn't make sense why they would put that stipulation on there. But then again, where do you go after all the different matches they put him through for the 5 labors of Jericho or whatever? So like there was really nowhere else to go. But I think the MJF Jericho storyline should have been over at the Blood and Guts match.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Wow.
Where he knocked him off into that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jericho should have taken some time away, come back, and had a new opponent. Because I mean, this whole I enjoyed the Labors of Love. Like you guys might not know who he is, but I like Nick Gage, and he came out and fought Jericho in a death match on TNT in prime time. That was fucking awesome.
Are you talking about that guy who just cut him up and all that with the pizza cutter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
we watched that match, man.
Yeah, we watched that match.
Yeah.
That was it was entertaining. I was entertained at the least. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. So I mean, I liked seeing that, but I mean, there was a couple cool things that came out of it. But just I don't think those cool things were worth having, a whole nother feud with MJF.
Well, that's cool. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think that they'll probably have to move MJF on to. It seems like they might try and work this Brian Pillman, thing they got going on. Brian Pillman Jr. Angle they got going on. So we'll have to see what goes on from that, or we'll have to see what comes from that. Is probably the best way to put it.
Well, with Hangman taking time off, it kind of puts the world title picture in a weird way. Because I mean, like Danielson just came in, right? I might be jumping ahead a little bit, but Danielson just came in, and now he's already challenging for the world title. I like Bryan Danielson. I want to see Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega for the world title. But in AEW, it doesn't really work that way. Like you have to win a couple matches, and then you get the challenge for the title. You know what I mean? They say the wins and losses matter. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting how they bypass that. But, I mean, Hangman was supposed to fight Kenny Omega at All Out.
Right.
So, I mean, and then they threw Christian in there. So I don't know where that goes, like with Bryan Danielson coming in. But, I mean, like, where does MJF go? Like, who's his next opponent? Like you said, like, he might be able to squash Brian Pillman at the next big event they do. But I mean, he's never won a title in AEW, and he's one of their biggest stars. Somehow they need to put him in some kind of title picture.
Yeah, MJF is going to be an interesting one with him moving forward, because you can't move him into the world title feud.
Exactly.
With the, it looks like it's all signs pointed to Bryan Danielson and Omega, and TNT. It looks like they're about to rehash Miro and Eddie Kingston again. And I don't know if they're doing that as a filler or they just haven't figured out who they want Miro to feud with. MJF, I know he walks around with Wardlow, but they're not really a tag team. Wardlow's more or less of his henchman. So it's kind of interesting. I mean, I was thinking, you could do like MJF versus CM Punk, but they already took that away with CM Punk feuding with like the Team Taz folks and all that. Yeah. So
I'm not looking forward to the whole CM Punk Team Taz stuff. Like I wish the Team Taz stuff would just stay over in a different corner. But now that you brought up Wardlow, I don't know if you saw the last week's show, but there was some distinction or tension in between Wardlow and MJF, and they've been, teasing that for a little bit.
Yeah.
So I maybe that's where he goes next. But I would like to see, Danielson have to go through like Adam Cole first, because I don't think they've ever wrestled, right? So like,
at least not in the past, like at least not on their time on WWE. I don't think they wrestled. Yeah.
You know what? Maybe I think they did on a SmackDown. There was a time where the plane was stuck over in Saudi Arabia, so they did like an NXT invasion on SmackDown. I think Danielson fought Adam Cole then, but I would love to see it on AEW where they have more freedom. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I want to see something where Kenny Omega's like, you guys came back on the same night. I want to, like, you got to go through him before you can get to me or something like that. I think that would be interesting. Yeah. So you had brought up Eddie Kingston and Miro.
Yeah.
Calling it right now, Eddie Kingston wins the TNT title September 22nd at the Arthur Ashe show.
Why do you say that?
He's from New York. He's been there a little bit, and his first match in the company was for the TNT title against Cody Rhodes. And I think it's time to come full circle. I don't know how they get it on him, but I mean, I enjoyed their match at All Out. So I think based off the way it ended with Miro cheating, it's time for Eddie Kingston to get his comeuppance and beat Miro on a big show. And I think they'll do that in New York. So I'm excited to watch that match.
Do you think that if Eddie does win, do you think they'll carry that into like a feud where Miro might try to chase the title for a little bit before they figure out who they want next?
I think because Miro loses and wins and losses matter, I think he goes on a run, wrestling other guys, beating the shit out of him. And then he might have like a big man's feud somewhere in there. And then eventually he'll make his way to probably the world title picture because Miro's over and he's over big time. So
yeah,
they have so many over people. They don't know, they can't all put them in the world title picture. So I don't know where they go, but that's the exciting part about AEW. Like so many people are so over with the fans.
So before I guess we move on to like what we think the future of AEW is, did you guys have like did you guys think that any of the matches on All Out were bad? And if you had to choose what was the worst match, what would it be?
I mean, they had the Big Show match, but I mean, I'm not sure exactly what they call them in AEW, but I think that was just like a lot of people see that as the match they just put on to get us ready for the main event. You know what I mean?
I agree. The Big Show or Paul White match was the worst match. But it was there for a reason. It was there because in case other matches went long, they could cut that match and they didn't have to cut another match. So like it was what it was. It wasn't for me. I think Big Show likes to wrestle and that's cool for him. And if he can do it, every once in a while, cool, but don't put it on a pay-per-view. But then again, if they put a women's match in that spot, they would have been criticized for cutting a women's match. So
bearing them in a sense.
Yeah.
That you just answered. But moving forward, so like I have a little theory of the world title picture. My thing is I think they're gonna try to give Kenny Omega a solid because he had that whole hype of him being the cleaner from like New Japan and whatever, and putting on these 5-star matches with other wrestlers like Okada, et cetera, et cetera. But he never really had like that big classic in AEW. So I think him versus Danielson is that hopefully they could get that 5-star classic. But I really think that they want Hangman to be the guy to take the title off of him.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. But I just think that whenever Hangman comes back from his real life thing with, he's expecting a child soon, I think that's when they'll take the title off of Omega. But I think this is a good alternative route. Now, of course, I'm not Tony Khan or nor any type of booker in the organization, but I'm just thinking that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to give Omega his big match, have him retain. So to say when Hangman takes it off of him, it'll be much bigger when he does.
So the rumor for Bryan Danielson to debut was Arthur Ashe show, September 22nd.
Right.
So I think because Danielson hasn't had a match yet and because he hasn't racked up any wins, I think they make the match between him and Omega non-title. And then that's how they get around that. And then after they have their match, if he wins against Omega, then that's just a win under his belt. I don't think you get more points for beating a champion or anything like that. So, and you're right. When Heyman returns, the roof's going to blow off whatever arena they're in. And that is who everyone wants to take the belt off Omega. And that's who it should be.
Right. I agree.
He's he's also one of their biggest stars. So, keep it, doing the Bryan Danielson Omega match doesn't have to be for the title. It can just be an attraction match for September 22nd. And you're giving it away on free TV. So no one can really complain. You know what I mean? No matter who wins.
I'm not mad at that, Tate. Now, do you have anything?
No, I mean, I think pretty much like we spoke about everything that I wanted to talk about as far as AEW. I'm not sure if y'all had any final takes.
Well, what about Adam Cole though? We didn't never mention him.
I forgot about Adam Cole. Yeah, you're right.
That's the problem with debuting 3 people in one night at a pay-per-view is you guys forgot about Adam Cole. He was lost in the shuffle and he went straight to the Elite. Now, I don't know if you guys have read that Kevin Owens' contract is up in January.
I heard that.
Kevin Owens has been reportedly not happy with the WWE. And all signs point to him going to AEW. His contract expires January 31st. So I don't know, you guys probably don't know how it ended, but he was a tag team with Adam Cole and the Young Bucks before he went to WWE on the independent circuit.
So I heard that Kevin Owens was having some issues and they're planning on possibly debuting Bray Wyatt soon, and as far as AEW goes. So they're just grabbing up all these stars, and I'm just thinking like
Bray Wyatt hasn't been confirmed by anybody. That's just a rumor that's going around because everyone that leaves WWE, is automatically getting picked up by AEW. You know what I mean? Right. So Bray Wyatt could show up in Impact whenever his non-compete's up. But then again, everyone besides WWE is working together. So, I mean, he could really show up anywhere.
Yeah.
But at the end of Kevin Owens' indie run, Adam Cole, Young Bucks, all three super kicked him in the head. So I think come January time, that's still a couple months away. So whatever Adam Cole does in between then and now is that. But I think come January time, Kevin Owens shows up somewhere and just beats the shit out of all three of them.
I would assume they would try and put Adam Cole in some type of match on Full Gear that's coming up soon, right? But I'm just not sure against who. That's all it's for me. I just really can't think as to who they put him against.
I think they're going to start building towards that match come this week when he wrestles his first in-ring match for AEW. I think we'll get a taste of who he's going to be feuding with.
You think it should be Jungle Boy?
I don't see Jungle Boy as a singles wrestler. He's had a lot of great singles matches, but I see him as a tag team with Luchasaurus. And I think they've been overdue for a tag team title shot too. So I think the next tag team title match should be between Lucha Bros and Jurassic Express.
That's interesting. That would be an interesting situation if they were to face each other. I don't know, because I just never saw them all being in the title picture, I don't know. I figured that there's nobody really else that would fit though. That's the thing.
Well, what about Santana Ortiz?
Oh yeah, I forgot.
FTR and stuff like that.
I'd rather see Santana Ortiz than FTR though, personally.
You know what? Give me a 4-team ladder match at Full Gear. Fuck it. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
And they can play a great story because FTR don't do that shit.
Huh?
FTR don't do flips. FTR don't use ladders and all that shit. Give me that story. I could use a Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, Dudley Boys esque ladder match on a pay-per-view for AEW.
WrestleMania 17.
Yeah,
classic. TLC 2. Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah, let me see fucking FTR jump off a 30-foot ladder and hit Jungle Boy off the belt. Let me see that shit.
Man, listen, if that's happening, sign me up.
There was some big news about Gable Steveson. Basically, he signed with WWE over the UFC. He has some type of exclusive deal where he could still wrestle his senior year of college at Minnesota, but at the same time, he'll be training to be a professional wrestler through the resources of the WWE. They're going to build him a facility or training area or whatever. I think it's interesting that he decided to go with them over the UFC. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it's actually kind of smart because it'll be like the Brock Lesnar approach, right?
Yep.
Get his name out there much bigger. And he's already big because he's the Olympic gold medalist, but he'll be, bigger, If he has a successful run in the WWE, if he ever decides, hey, I still want to go to the UFC and try my luck in mixed martial arts, he'll get even a bigger check.
Right.
They'll put him in prime time spot on more than likely pay-per-view. So I think, him going with WWE is not a bad idea, honestly. I think it's great.
Do you know how old he is?
He's what is he now? He's 22, 23. He's young.
I think he's 21 or 22.
Oh, wow. So he's really young.
Yeah.
I think what he's doing is dope because, why not get that WWE money? He's already accomplished the biggest accomplishment in, wrestling, essentially.
Collegiate wrestling, amateur wrestling.
Yeah, you know what I mean? The gold medal. So it's get your money in the WWE. Then once you're done doing that, take the Brock Lesnar approach, like you said. go over to the UFC, and then try your luck.
Yeah, I mean, it's very well possible that that's going to happen. He just turned 21 in May.
Yeah, they're definitely looking for their next Brock Lesnar, their next Kurt Angle. I mean, they don't have the best track record with amateur wrestlers recently, but I mean, what they used to do with what they did with Angle and what they did with Brock is it's amazing. That Brock left and made a bigger name for himself in the UFC, and he was a big name in the WWE. So yeah. I mean, if they do what they did with him, he'll be great. Like Brock came in for a lot of money. I don't know how much he came in when he was training, but Angle and Mark Henry, right off their Olympic runs, were offered $1 million a year for a couple years. And I mean, Angle turned it down, and he ended up coming in for like $75,000 a year. So
what?
Yeah. His agent told him not to take it, and so he didn't. And then he came back and was like, "I'll join now." And they're like, "Not for that money."
Jeez, man, I would be sick. No wonder why he's clipping everybody's ankle, man.
But yeah, I mean, I think they have a real star in their hands, and they just need to mold him the correct way.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they can do what they did with Angle, because Angle is one of the best, if not the best, in the past 20 years.
Yeah, I agree. I think her Angle is him, Lesnar, and maybe Gable Steveson. They have impeccable athletic careers, and if the torch is supposed to be passed down to Gable, that's cool. But I've also read that his brother, I don't know his brother's first name, but his brother's already signed with the WWE, and he's training, and I don't know what system that they have for the people that are they're not necessarily going to be put on TV, but they're being trained and coached before their time. So, any listeners, please tell me the proper terminology for that. But his brother's already in that program. He's already getting coached, and he's already starting to train and whatever like that.
Is his brother reporting to the Performance Center?
It could be that. I don't know the name of their developmental stuff.
I mean, so usually when they get signed, they go to the Performance Center. They learn from all the coaches. It's like college. They have different classes. So all of them show up to their assigned class every day throughout the week. And then like they have a set time in the ring and set time lifting weights and working out and all that shit. So, I mean, if he's signed, that's what he's doing right now.
Yeah. That's definitely good for him. He might see the Rock's daughter there, because I know the Rock's daughter, she's part of that too.
I saw a tweet the other day, and it had a picture of the Rock's daughter, and they were like, when the hell is she supposed to be debuting? And I was like, I forgot she was there.
Maybe she needs a lot of work, or, maybe
she's just not a natural like the Rock was, I guess.
Yeah. So any last moments or any last things that you guys want to get off your chest before we close this out?
I'm good to go.
I'm good. I just want to say thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. I do got to know, Zach, your favorite wrestler of all time.
I mean, I got this collection I'm building of belts is based off Stone Cold. So it's Stone Cold, and then probably Punk right below him, and then The Rock right below him. So I do like the entertainers, but I also like them being able to work in the ring. So I enjoy those three right off the top.
Okay, cool. My favorite wrestler of all time is The Rock, but I'm also a big Chris Jericho fan.
Okay.
I like Eddie Guerrero, and I also like Ric Flair, even though he's way before my time. That's like my grandfather's time. So
there's a lot of good wrestlers. Too many to name that. Like too many to have a Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that. I agree. Yeah, man. That's all I got. I want to say thank you, Zach, Spence, Knobs. You guys got anything to say before we thank Mr. Hunter before we move on?
No, I'm good. Thanks, Zach, for coming on. We appreciate the help, and we appreciate you coming on to talk to us. Spence, I'm not sure if you wanted to close us out or you had anything to say.
Well, first and foremost, I want to say thank you to Zach as well for coming on here, and as well as just helping out with the templates that we've used so far. But yeah, I mean, I don't have much to say. Oh, Triple H would be my favorite of all time.
Did you see he just had
I'm not bad at it.
Did you just see he had some kind of cardiac incident?
Yeah.
No.
He was in
What?
the hospital. Yeah, he almost died.
Oh wow, I would have been.
Yeah, man.
I would have been in tears, man. I've
When you would have spit in your living room, like
Yeah.
at the ceiling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen, I did all as a kid. I did all of that stuff.
Could you imagine all those tribute TikToks where they're just spitting all over the place?
Oh my god, you might be on to something.
Oh, Spence, were you about to say anything?
Oh no, I was just gonna close this out.
Oh, okay. You want me to do it or you got it?
Yo, it's your show, man. It's
Oh,
your
all right,
world,
I'm sorry,
baby.
I'm sorry, excuse me.
Yeah.
It's your world, baby.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
People, you have been highly advised. Thank you for listening to us talk some wrestling talk. We will be back. We will talk to you later. Have a good one.
You've been highly advised. Shashaw.